What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Surrey Stingers, bringing you guys our championship team builder for PTL Division 2 Season 2. This will be our final match in the PTL, so I will discuss that a little bit more in our PTL season recap about why I'm not returning. But this is a finals match, so I've got a lot that I want to cover in my talking about the matchup and all that, especially now since this is a rematch. We played Gremlin in week 3 on the Southend Stoutlands, and we got pretty much bodied in that game. So we beat Gremlin last season when we were both in D3, and so it's kind of fitting that we're playing each other in the finals now. I really respect how he plays, and I love his team, honestly. I'm a big fan of his team. It's reusing the Megalodios Mammoth that I used last season, and I think he's using it a lot better than I am, especially Mammoth. I love it on paper, but it just tends to have bad situations. I tend to put it in bad situations, but he's got the bulk on his team to really contribute to Mammoth and Megalodios sort of being offensive powerhouses. Not that Megalodios wasn't for me last season, because it absolutely was. It got like 17 kills or something silly. But yeah, that's what's up. So his team has not changed, so I'll just run through it again. Megalodios, Necrozma, Mammothwine, Shaman, Buzzwole, Primarina, Z Stakataka, Z Tornadus Incarnate, Incineroar, Gligar. Last time he brought Megalodios, Necrozma, Mammothwine, Buzzwole, Primarina, and Z Stakataka, although I'm not sure if it was Z or not, I can't remember. I wasn't expecting Shaman or Torn Eye. I'm definitely not expecting the Shaman once again, although I do have a Garchomp instead of... Wait, no, didn't I have Garchomp for the first time in that? Yeah, I had Garchomp last time. So I'm still not expecting the Shaman. I'm actually still not expecting the Torn Eye. Incineroar and Gligar didn't come last time. I feel like Incineroar has more of a chance to show up this time now that I have a Chandelure, and maybe Necrozma has less of a chance to come this time. Although I was kind of split between which would be his best Mega Lopunny check between Buzzwole or Necrozma. It ended up being Buzzwole last time, and I'm not actually bringing Mega Lopunny this time, which is strange. Because, and I've already given away the Jirachi set, so I'll just move it to the front now. But I'm not bringing Mega Lopunny this time because I think I have better options, and I think he handled it really well. It kind of threatened the stack attack a little bit, but that was about it, honestly. Primarina is still a gigantic threat, and I have one way to check that, and so we'll sort of see that a little bit, well, soonish. Mammothwine definitely still a problem, still eats me alive. My trades and whatnot did not make my matchup against Mammothwine any better. Despite dropping 2 ground weaknesses, I ended up picking up another ground weakness. So I've got Jirachi that's weak to ground, Raikou that's weak to ground, Chandelure that's weak to ground, and then all of my, like basically everything else. Roserade's weak to ice, Braviary's weak to ice, Golurk's weak to ice, Garchomp's weak to ice. So Mammothwine just tears me apart. And I was really scared of a Life Orb set, and he brought Life Orb last time. I believe he's Adamant Life, or sorry, I think he was Jolly Life Orb, and I expect him to be Jolly Life Orb again. I think he's going to try and speed tie Braviary and Chandelure. He's really got no reason not to. But Chandelure is the reason that I think Incineroar might come this time. Again, I'm not sure what it would be over. Potentially even the Megalodios, honestly. Megalodios doesn't have a ton that it can, like, it's really good offensively, just like 4 attacks, right? But Dragon Stab does nothing to my team, realistically. I'm not bringing Garchomp, and Garchomp's weak to ice, so there's no reason. Garchomp's covered by Primarina and Mammothwine offensively. He doesn't have the best defensive checks to Garchomp besides Gligar, but that's besides the point. I'm making myself less weak to Stakataka with this build, which is good. A lot less weak to Stakataka actually, because I've got Golurk on the squad. I'm opening myself up a little bit more to just a straight up offensive Megalodios, just because I'm dropping all of my speed, right? The fastest thing that I'm bringing this week is my Jirachi, and I've typically been bringing Mega Lopunny and then one of Raikou or Garchomp most of the season. I actually haven't even been bringing Jirachi Clefable that much. I've just been finding a lot more success with Golurk. Golurk and Roserade in particular, I've been having a lot of fun with and having a lot of success with. So maybe I'll probably touch on that a little bit more at the end, but it seems fitting to do it now, you know? So, no, we're going to do it now. This is the finals game. You guys don't need to wait till the end to hear what I'm not bringing. Raikou I'm not bringing. Once again, he's got 2 really good ground types. When I was theory modding this the first time in my head when I was trying to build, I was like, wow, Specs Raikou kind of just goes in against this team, doesn't it? With like Signal Beam, because Signal Beam covers the Shaman and both Psychics, right? Sorry, Shaman covers the Latios and the Shaman, and I could run HP Ice with Signal Beam and like T-Bolt Volt Switch, but Mamoswine's just such a cuck, man. Such a cuck. He can give up a little bit of damage on it if he's willing to just break with it instead of like clean, but that's sort of the situation that we find ourselves in with that. Incineroar, I thought about coming. Torn, I still don't think Torn's going to come against me. There's really no reason for it to come the second time when he didn't bring it the first time. There's just better options on the team, honestly. Torn's fairly weak, and so even though it can be Z against me, I just don't really see it coming. Shaman, same sort of thing. I mean, honestly, my matchup against Shaman kind of just... it's not necessarily better, but it's also not necessarily worse by any means. Like, I dropped a poison and a fire for a fire, so there's like whatever. Drapion doesn't come, but big fucking whoop. I don't even think I brought. Did I bring Drapion last time? Oh, I did. I brought Drapion last time, and it was probably my way to deal with Necrozma and Megalodios. But I don't even have it now, so I'm a lot weaker to Megalodios than I thought actually. Whatever. Braviary I actually did bring last time as well, I believe, and I'm not bringing Braviary this time. I'm not sold that it was the right call on my part, because I could have just gone pure offense against him, just gone hit for hit, just sort of gone at it. The Mamoswine's Ice Shard is the biggest problem and the biggest issue for me kind of just going HO here and going pound for pound, just hitting him really hard back and forth, because obviously that means Mamoswine's always going to have the upper hand against the things that I would want to go hit for hit for. So I'm going with a little bit of a different strategy, and you may think it's quite silly that I'm not bringing Megalopony. I think Necrozma and Buzz will deal with it way too effectively, despite it having a good matchup against literally everything else, and it being my kill leader for the season. I just didn't feel comfortable bringing like a similar Megalopony set like I did last time, which was a Toxic set. I brought Toxic for those Pokemon, and I'm just not bringing it this time. It's not consistent enough, and I'd want something that's more consistent. So I've got a few more consistent answers to threats on my team this time, and we'll sort of see if that works out. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I still don't have a Mamoswine answer on the team. I've got a Pokemon that can maybe take a hit, but like that's pretty much it. So that's sort of where I'm going with that. Raikou, I already explained. Braviary, I already explained. Garchomp, it's just Mamoswine, essentially. You know, I could beat down the Primarina with Garchomp if I really needed to. The possibility of Shaman showing up is kind of annoying. Megalodios showing up is kind of annoying because I don't really want to be a Scarf Chomp. Because then Gligar walls me, and Gligar is kind of a problem to it too. So there's a lot of problems with Garchomp for me in this matchup, despite me not bringing it very often, and essentially it being a wasted Z user this entire season. I just haven't had the need to it. So I am going to start with my Jirachi here. I know this is really late into the recording that I'm getting started with this, but this is a championship team builder, so I've got a lot of thoughts, and I mean, I've talked through a lot of them now. So I've already spoiled the Jirachi. It's been on your screen for 8 minutes, so let's talk a little bit more in depth about what this Jirachi set does. Now, I put this a little bit later on because this is absolutely my win con. I sometimes joke about hacks being a win con. It's my win con this game. Ironhead flinching my way to victory is my way to win this game. That's how I've built this team, and that's how I want to win this title. As scummy as it sounds, just Ironhead flinching my way to a title, I've barely used Jirachi this season. I've barely brought Scarf Jirachi this season. I'm not even entirely sure that he's going to expect it. I brought Banded Jirachi against him last time, so I'm not entirely sure that he's going to expect or prep for Scarf Jirachi that well. And so that's kind of why I've got Jirachi on the team here in that role. I don't think that anything that's faster than it is going to be running a Scarf, i.e. Tornadus Incarnate. So I should be the fastest thing on the field with my Scarf Jirachi. I don't need anything like a Megalopony or anything like that. I'll outspeed things like Scarf Mamo. This is kind of my way to revenge the Mamo, is by flinching it, or hoping that I flinch it. If I don't flinch it, I lose the game. That's pretty much all there is to it. Ironhead should still do a crap load of damage to the Mamoswine. Again, I'm expecting him to kind of just be like Jolly Max, max speed, max attack. So I'm just going to bring up a calc here because I want to find out what the damage roll is on Ironhead against a Mamoswine. Life Orb, he's not going to be max HP. So I'm doing 74 to 86 with Iron Head. So if I do flinch, I'm in a good spot. Life Orb Earthquake is obviously going to blow me back. He's going to be jolly though, so it's doing about 126 minimum. I can definitely switch into Icicle Crash. I have to be really careful with this Jirachi and clicking, just like bringing it in on things. I think it's going to be a lot more effective if I bring it in after something dies on my team, like stacking something and then bringing in Jirachi. Buzzwole is going to be a really effective way to deal with this, so I'm also curious about Heart Stamp damage against the Mamoswine. Buzzwole's the reason that I have Heart Stamp on this set. It's doing 28 to 34, but I could get some flinches off on that. And then like a physically defensive Buzzwole's obviously kind of tanking Iron Heads. It's actually tanking Heart Stamps as well. It wouldn't be tanking Zen Headbutts as well, but it would be really nice to get off. It'd be really nice to get off the flinches against the Buzzwole more so than anything else. I do have U-turn on the set as well to just U-turn on checks, and then I've got Ice Punch there to deal with the Gligar. I realized last time that I didn't need Drain Punch to deal with the Stack Attacka. I could kind of deal with it by clicking Iron Head. It's not super effective against it. Like, I'm doing 20% to the Stack Attacka just because of how beefy that man's defense stat is. But at the same time, he has to click Earthquake against me, kind of. Like, Gyro Ball's a base 150 move, but it's stealing and steel, so it's not doing all that much. Jirachi's actually kind of weak, I'm not going to lie. Jirachi's kind of weak. Like, base 100 attack's kind of weak, but which is why I was banded last time. It's just better for me to try and flinch stuff to death in this matchup than fuck with anything else. So I am max speed to speed tie the Shaman. If it does happen to be that way, I was max speed last time. And that's just how it's going to be. I can't be shiny because I need Heart Stamp, or well, I wanted Heart Stamp, which is weaker than Iron Head, obviously, and it's 20 base power weaker than Zen Headbutt, I believe. Yeah, Zen Headbutt's base 80. But the 10% chance to miss and losing out on the 10% chance to flinch is actually kind of huge, because that 10% chance to flinch with Serene Grace translates to 20% chance to flinch, and so I'd rather have 100% accurate move with 20% chance, more chance to flinch than the 20 base power. And so even if it ends up being slower, I'm gonna get more chances to flinch, so it's not gonna make that much of a difference, and I won't miss. Hopefully, I'll never have to click Heart Stamp. Hopefully, I'll have other things in place to be able to deal with the Buzzwole instead, but just in case. Again, this is a huge threat to his team. I might just lead with it and U-turn in something right away. Depends on what I sort of see at lead. There's definitely a lot of problems that could go. Like, there's a lot that could go wrong with this. Big things being the Necrozma gets recovery, the Buzzwole gets recovery, and the Latios gets recovery, and the Gligar gets recovery. So all of kind of the walls that I would want to flinch to death, I'll get recovery, and so I need other ways to deal with those. In terms of the Latios and the Necrozma and the Buzzwole, Chandelure covers all three of those offensively, and I'll get into Chandelure a little bit later. Gligar, I'm kind of hoping I can deal with a combination of like Blastoise, Clefable. If it does come, it's kind of setup fodder for my Clefable set, but I'll go into Blastoise here first. So I'm running sort of a mixed defensive Blastoise. I'm running a little bit of speed on the Blastoise. We'll talk about the speed first. So I'm running a little bit of speed on here. This is for like a no. If he does opt to be no speed Mamoswine, I'll outrun that, and a little bit faster. So what ended up happening in our game in D3 last season is he brought some weird speed creeps. Like, he brought a lot of speed on his Mandibuzz. When I was speed creeping no speed Mandibuzz, he was above my creep. And so I know that he's smart enough to do that sort of stuff, and so I'm going to creep him creeping me, which is like really aggressive. It's really aggressive creeping. I'm actually going a little bit more passive on the aggressive side of creeping. I'm just sort of going to try and equal what I might think he goes for here. I can't afford to give up too much bulk, so I can't afford to run that much speed. But I should also outspeed things like no speed Necrozma, no speed Buzzwole, or at least a little bit of speed on both of them. I don't think that he's going to pack a ton of speed on either of them, because again, I think one, if not both of them, are going to be Mega Lopunny checks. He's going to be expecting the Mega Lopunny to show up, which again might be a risk that pays off, might be a risk that doesn't pay off. I am a plus Spadef nature, so I want to tank Spadef hits, and in particular, I want to tank Energy Ball from the Primarina. So that's something in particular I want to deal with, or the Shaman. I could just outright get rid of the Shaman, because Shaman's obviously a problem for a reasonable amount on my team. So I am a Rindoberry Blastoise here. Might actually be able to get rid of an Energy Ball using Mega Latios. I'm not sure that's the play. maybe T-Volt's better than Energy Ball on the Megalodios, but it also could be Energy Ball. So we've got the Rindoberry Mirror Coat combo there. Toxic, it'd be really nice to get a Toxic off on literally anything that can be Toxic. I would love to put them on a timer. Scald for the Mammoth in particular, although it can take on the Buzzwole and the Incineroar as well. And then I've got Rapid Spin to get rid of the hazards. I didn't talk about that. Let me run through that really quickly now. He's got priority in the Mammoth with Ice Shard, Primarina with Aqua Jet, Incineroar with Fake Out. Hazard setting in the Necrozma with Rocks, Mammo with Rocks, Stacko with Rocks, Gligar with Rocks. Rocks are kind of a pain in the ass for my Shandy, and I don't like the chip damage, so I want to get rid of Rocks. Despite him not having any other hazard pressure, I chose to go with Rapid Spin over Defog this week as well for a very particular reason. Removal options on his side, Megalodios with the Defog, Torn with Defog, Gligar with Defog. So again, if he wants to set up Rocks and he wants to bypass the hazards that I'm bringing, he's going to have to Defog them away. 4 times weaknesses, Buzzwole to Flying, which I've covered, Attack to Ground, which I've covered, and Fighting, which I believe I've also covered. I could be wrong on that, and Gligar to Ice, which I've covered on the Drashi. So I've got his 4 times weaknesses covered. That's the Blastoise set, just really mixed defensive. I wanted a little bit of offense here. It should secure a 2-shot on the Mamoswine, I believe. Let me just on the Stack Attack as well. Should definitely 2-shot the Stack Attack, if I am correct. Level 50, and I'm running 52. So Scald, yeah, it's a guaranteed 2-shot on max HP Stack Attacka. Like exactly, it's 50 is the minimum for the roll, and that's why I invested as much as I did. Clefable's next. I'm running a Calm Mind physically defensive set, so I'm hoping I can kind of take on Mammo. It doesn't really, but because the Mammo is kind of forced into Jolly, especially seeing that I have a Chandelure now as well, he's gonna be forced a little bit more into a Jolly set on the Mamoswine rather than an Adamant set and just relying on Ice Shard for the Braviary. Because he's going to need to EQ Chandelure. So Jolly Life Orb Memo does 49 to 57 to Michael Fable. So it's a chance to 2-shot me after leftovers, which means I can potentially switch into it. It's still really dangerous. Icicle Crash will definitely not kill me, but Earthquake might. It might be worthwhile to just get off damage against the Memo. It might not be. If I can set up against Gligar, Gligar is like a prime suspect for me to just like set up a Calm Mind against. Gligar cannot touch this Clefable set, whatsoever. And I'm a Moonblast set. Calm Mind Necrozma could be really scary setting up alongside me because Photon Geyser is like really scary, but he's only got 8 of them, and so there's a way to deal with that. Megalodios, I expected to bring Psyshock against me. I really do expect to bring Psyshock against me because otherwise he's in a bad spot if I can start Calm Minding on him. That's sort of the idea behind this set at the very least. Although neutral Moonblast is a roll to 2-shot. Sorry, it's guaranteed 2-shot. +1 Moonblast is a roll to Oko, the Megalodios. So that's kind of what's in place for the Clefable. It's a really good Incineroar check if he does end up bringing the Incineroar, and it's a really good Buzzwole check, which really needs to carry like Poison Jab to hit my Clefable or Iron Head or whatever. Neither of them are going to be super great, especially if he's as physically defensive as I think he's going to be. Then I can't see a position where Poison Jab's going to be doing all that much to me. +1 Moonblast, yeah, it's doing like 34 to 41 with no investment, and neutral Moonblast is doing 78 to 93, so it's potentially also Calm Mind fodder. I really only need 1 Calm Mind to sort of be able to break through stuff and be able to scout out the Necrozma set at the very least as well. I thought about running a stored power set here because I'm not super scared of the Incineroar. This is my Incineroar answer, to be fair. So I did think about a stored power set, but I just don't think it's as consistent as I need it to be in this matchup. Yeah, so I'm just mono Moonblast, but this is also my rocker. I think rocks are going to be reasonable chip against the team, and so that's why I'm running rocks. It's not super. I don't need to get up rocks. It's not the hazards that I was referring to earlier. I'm AV Golurk here. This is, despite it being AV, it's my Stack Attack check for sure. It can take hits though, which is why it's AV. It's kind of a pseudo answer to Torn Eye if it does show up. It's a pseudo answer to the Necrozma if it does, if it comes in its offensive, and it's a pseudo answer to a Megalodios. The reason I think he's going to be Ice Beam is for my Devil Ground. I think it'll be Ice Beam, Shadow Ball makes the most sense to me, and then potentially Psyshock. Maybe Roost is the last move, or maybe it's going to be Energy Ball or Thunderbolt for the Blastoise plus Braviary, potentially. He might bring Thunderbolt instead of Energy Ball. I have no fucking clue. I'm expecting the Primarina to carry Energy Ball for my Blastoise, though, which is why I'm Rindo, because I'd like to just bop the Primarina with that set. So I am HP Flying for the Buzzwole because I think that it'll come in on me if it's physically defensive. Ice Punch for the Gligar, Earthquake for the Stakataka, Shadow Punch for the Necrozma. I'm not actually carrying fighting coverage. I originally had No Guard Dynamic Punch on this set, which is something I really fought hard to unban at the beginning of the season once I drafted Golurk, and I haven't brought it to a single game, so haha, joke's on you. I didn't bring it at all, but you unbanned it. So Keck, fully specially defensive. Just the idea is to just tank hits with this AV set, honestly. And then Iron Fist boosted Ice Punch and Shadow Punch should be doing quite a lot to everything else there. And then Earthquake will hit the Incineroar and the Stakataka, which won't be taking as much from Ice Punch and Shadow Punch. I'm a minus speed nature because I need my special attack for HP Flying for the Buzzwole. Roserade's next. I'm running a Black Sludge set. Last time I was a Poison Barb set. I'm really specially defensive. This is another answer to the Primarina, or a pseudo answer to the Primarina. It loses to the other specially offensive mons on the team, but it's really important that I take as little damage from Primarina as possible, and I don't necessarily need the investment. So I've got Giga Drain on here for Mamoswine. I have HP Ice for Gligar and Latios, I guess, and Torn. And then Dazzling Gleam is for the Buzzwole, I guess. Dazzling Gleam's actually a really bad option. I'm going to run Sludge Bomb instead because it's a little bit better against some other things. But I'm HP Ice. Last time I was HP Ground, I believe. I was HP Ground, and I had fighting moves on like Braviary, so I had multiple ways to check the Stakataka in case it was Shuka. I'm just going to bypass that completely. I don't give a fuck. Golurk checks it. Regardless if he's Shuka, he can't touch the Golurk, especially my Golurk because I'm a minus speed nature. He can't touch me with Gyro Ball. Like it's pretty much doing nothing. Here, I'll run a calc for you guys, just so you can see exactly how little damage this is doing to my Golurk. Level 50, but I'm not running any speed, and we're a negative speed nature. I believe we're sassy against Taka. So Lonely boosted Gyro Ball is doing, actually that's doing more than I expected. Seriously? I have 67 speed. Why is it doing 64 to 76? That's a lot more than I expected. I wasn't expecting Stone Edge to do that much to a resist either. Oh, I have 248 HP. That would be why. So Gyro Ball is actually still two-shotting me, but Stone Edge isn't doing crap. And then Earthquake will one-shot him. Wait, I'm no investment actually. Earthquake will still one-shot him if he's a lonely nature. If he's lonely, max HP, then Earthquake will still one-shot him for sure. Even if he's like 4? Yeah. It's doing 100 minimum. 100 to 116.6 from no investment Golurk, and I'm actually 8 investment Golurk. It doesn't change the roll at all, but who knows? It might change the roll on other things. So that's the idea behind the Golurk set. Roserade, again, T-Spikes. This is so coming back to this. T-Spikes are really good against his team. They wear down a lot of his just like offensive pressure. Things like Mamoswine, taking Life Orb Recoil plus a turn of Poison. That's building up, right? Like that's 22% each turn, and that's gonna wear down the Mamoswine really quickly, which I like. Obviously, I'd rather Toxic something like the Necrozma, but the poison damage is also good. Same with the Buzzwole. I'm not really running any other status for those sort of things, so it's just really nice to get a T-Spike off against those. He doesn't have a grounded poison to remove these, so he has to defog them, and his defoggers are obviously hover, like all of them hover, but T-Spikes really pressure his team, so I like the idea of that. That's the idea behind that sort of aspect of Roserade. I'm running enough speed on the Roserade for a bunch of the no speed stuff. So I'm sort of creeping Mamoswine creeping me a little bit aggressively, like creeping no speed Roserade, I guess, is the idea behind that. I should be able to outspeed something like a no speed Buzzwole fairly easily. Same with Necrozma, although I don't necessarily think I'll ever get a chance to hit those very much. Sludge Bomb should still be doing decent damage. I should outspeed, yeah, I'm outspeeding a fairly speedy Primarina with this speed investment as well, which is all right. Same with Incineroar, I can outspeed the Incineroar, so that's sort of the idea behind Roserade. And then last but not least is Chandelure. I'm running a Scarf Chandelure. I thought that this was going to be my best way, so right in prep, I was like, okay, well, the things that beat Mega Lopunny and Buzzwole are really weak, or sorry, yeah, the things that beat Mega Lopunny are Necrozma and Buzzwole, and Chandelure can handle both of those. So that was kind of the idea behind this, is that I can run Shadow Ball Fire Blast and just nuke both of them. I've got Trick as well if I need to get rid of my Scarf. If it is a Berry stack Attacka, it might be nice to get rid of a Scarf onto that potentially. There's not much I would want to trick a Scarf onto, but if the Glider comes, it might be a little bit harder to deal with than I'm expecting, so I can trick a Scarf onto that. Although that would obviously threaten me out. I've got Energy Ball there for the Primarina as well. It's going to do quite a chunk to Mamoswine. So this is something I wanted to calc while I was here anyways. I didn't run a calc on this. I've kind of been neglecting this prep for a while. Today is the day before. In fact, it's the night before. It's less than... actually, it's a little bit more than 12 hours before we play. And so I'm running Fire Blast, which is going to do a shitload to the Mamoswine, even if he's thick fat, but I wanted to have Energy Ball anyways. I'm just going ballsy, right? It's finals. It's finals. I'm not going to run Flamethrower in finals. That's so weak sauce, you know? Fire Blast actually helps secure kills on mons like Shaman. A little bit higher range, and it does a lot more damage to the Necrozma if I happen to lock myself into Fire Blast against that. There's no normal type on this team, so Shadow Ball is really spammable, but that's the Incineroar is kind of a bitch. So it'd be nice to trick the Incineroar as well. It doesn't get Pursuit, but it's pretty free U-turn for the Incineroar on whatever I want to bring into it, i.e. Clefable, and weakening Clefable is going to be really important for him to sort of win with Mamoswine pretty much right away. But I'd love to get more chip damage on the Incineroar so that Jirachi can win. So ideally, I can get up Rocks and T-Spikes this game, but I'm not entirely sure that that's doable. Okay, so while Fire Blast does a chunk to the Mamoswine, Energy Ball is a roll to kill it from Timid, so that's kind of one of the options with Energy Ball as well. And it's definitely my best way to hit the Primarina, which is great because that's the benefit the Chandelure has over something like a Blacephalon, is that I do have the opportunity to two-shot something like Prim. Max HP Specs Prim, I will two-shot. If he's Assault Vest, then I'm definitely in a lot more trouble in terms of beating the Primarina, because I'm definitely it's a three-shot, but I'm not two-shotting it. With T-Spikes up, it might be a little bit more in my favor, especially if he's got taken some poison damage there. But that's sort of what's up with the Chandelure. I already explained why I'm not bringing other things. Oh, Chandelure is speed tying Mamoswine, so it's important there. It'll also outspeed his entire team. Again, in terms of what I expect to be his Scarfers, if he's bringing Scarfers, I am bringing dual Scarf with my Jirachi and my Chandelure, and both of them should outspeed his entire team. At the very least, if he's bringing Scarf Mamo, he won't be able to deal with my Clefable as well, and he still has to be max speed to speed time my Chandelure. So Jolly Scarf Mamo it loses a lot of power, and it's almost free setup for Clefable. It's not completely free setup for Clefable, but I could put myself in a position where Clefable probably just wins the game at that point. I'd love to see Scarf Mamoswine rather than a Life Orb Mamoswine, but I do think it's going to be Life Orb. So hopefully I can take advantage of that a little bit more with my Chandelure set, but maybe not. Again, I'll outspeed things like Scarf Buzzwole with this set too. I'll outspeed Scarf Necrozma if that's actually a thing. It's not really a thing. Scarf Incineroar I'll outspeed, not that it'll matter that much, but I can also outspeed Scarf Incineroar with my Jirachi. Incineroar is going to be the big thing for me not winning with Jirachi at the end of the game, so I built a really weak to Incineroar team. This team is extremely weak to Incineroar, so I am hoping and praying that does not show up, because otherwise I really have to rely on Clefable to 1v1 the Incineroar, and I don't think that that's necessarily possible, depending on his set. So I just want to run a quick calc here against like standard Incineroar. Yeah, Flare Blitz is doing a shitload to that thing, man. Incineroar is going to be a gigantic problem, and if it shows up, I'm going to be a little bit on edge about that, just because I think his best play might be to bring the exact same 6. It might not be. I'm not sure. Obviously, he won the first one, and I lost the first one, so I identified why I lost, and that was kind of by Megalopony being checked by too many things. And Mamoswine, the Mamoswine is something that I can't deal with at all. So I'm trying to avoid that problem by checking it with speed control. And then I've got a lot more checks to the Necrozma and Buzzwole, even though I'm not bringing the Megalopony. Regardless of the outcome here, it's going to be a good game. I'm really looking forward to it. And this is almost half an hour for Teambuilder. So if you stuck around this long, good on you. Please type donuts in my comment section if you stuck around this long. It's actually going to be my birthday, the day after this battle, so potentially if I'm uploading this Saturday, Sunday, then you guys will see the battle on my birthday. I'm turning 23, so maybe instead of donuts, drop a birthday cake or something. Yay, happy birthday. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I hope we come out with our third title, or fourth title actually, sorry, fourth title.